What's poppin', baby? It's your boy MileHighFloatin, always smoking, never choke, but continue with it. Token, tuning back in for another one of them bangers. Well, it's actually a PSA by my boy Adam Calhoun. And yeah, man, it's a very interesting title, and that's why I really wanted to kind of do this one. Because I really did. I thought about it, and I was like, man, this one is probably personal, and I don't know that it really deserves a not necessarily. Let me take that word back. Not that it doesn't deserve a reaction, but when someone's talking about something as personal about, like this title says, I was not a good dad. Like that's personal. Like I am a father, you know what I'm saying? I have 3 daughters. Yeah, so I that's a very personal topic. But I felt like I just wanted to hear what he had to say, and me being a dad, maybe I could chime in and you know, maybe just give my 2 cents where it fits. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't fit anywhere, then I won't say anything. But yeah, let's just jump into this, man. No more talking your ear off. Just do what you do to go up. If you don't do anything in particular, just open up your mind and go up that way. Let's get the screen recording. If you're not a part of the High fam, please hit the subscribe button and followed by that bell notification. You know what I'm saying? Make sure all your notifications on. And it's a little early, so bear with me, all right? But let's do this, man. Let's jump into this full screen. We got a PSA by Adam Calhoun titled, "I Was Not a Good Dad." It's a crazy title. All right, let's go.
All right, this is going to be a very personal video, a little bit about my life, but mostly about me as a parent. And everyone's always like, man, Adam, you're such a good dad. I wish I had that kind of relationship with my kid. I had my son when I was 19 years old. I was a kid, and yeah, I don't give a fuck what you say.
Hey, shout outs to you, Adam. I had my very first child at 19 years old as well. I didn't know where he's going with this. You're very much still a child. At that point, you're still trying to figure out who you are in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Let alone trying to guide another human being through this world. You know what I mean?
Say 18, you're an adult. No. I was 19. I didn't know shit. First of all, labor. What the?
At all.
Sitting there watching everything come out, and that's like an alien. I was in his life every single day for about a year, and then things didn't work out, and I'm back at home at my mom's. I become one of these fathers, the every other weekend thing. I want to be out. I'm fucking bitches. You know, I'm doing that stuff. Take him to his first day of preschool, and it's so funny because he's such a short little guy. He was so short that his backpack was dragging on the ground when I dropped him off, and I'll never forget that. But anyways, by the time he's 5 years old, I don't see him very much anymore. I'm doing my own thing, and I'm thinking about myself. I don't really care about anything but myself. He's like 7 years old, and finally I try to come back into his life. And
you know, some crazy shit. I know he's sitting here talking about a personal. So it just brought up, like, it made me think about my own situation. Because I was actually I was the opposite of Adam. I definitely have moments of where I feel like I was failing as a father, even though I was there, because I was working so much that my kids just felt like I wasn't there. You know, like my presence wasn't felt because my mind was on 10 other things, even though I was there physically. But with my first child, it was actually her mom. Her mom ended up kind of getting into a really crazy depression called postpartum depression. It's a depression that a lot of women kind of go through after they have a child. And she went through it really bad. And she had a rough childhood on her own. You know, her mom was a whole nother story. So just a combination of just everything, kind of like she had to run. She ran away, you know what I'm saying? She didn't run away, but she went off and did her own thing. Like how Adam's kind of saying he went off and just kind of did his own thing, and that was just kind of that. Like she was like that, where she was kind of in and out for a while, and then she just kind of disappeared for a long time, and then now she's back, you know? But yeah, that's just crazy. It made me think of that whole little situation I had to go through with my daughter. I had my oldest daughter, or my oldest biological daughter, because you guys know my oldest daughter is technically not my biology, but I've raised her, so she's my daughter, so don't fuck with her, you know what I'm saying? That's my kid. But I had my oldest, Jayana. I'll just tell you, because most of y'all know my kid's names now, but Jayana, me and her, it was just me and her for like 3 years, man. And she lived with me. I have majority custody over her. Like, that's my baby right there. But yeah, let's go. Let's finish. My bad, Adam. I'm sorry I had to interrupt you. My bad, Adam.
And at this time, I was fighting a case about to go to prison. I ended up going to prison. Now, while I'm in prison, his mom brings him to see me, and I'll never forget it. I wrote a letter and I said, man, everything's gonna be good when I get out of here. When I get out of here, it's gonna be me and you. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna change everything. And a lot of dads might write that letter or say these things to their kids and never actually cash that in and actually back up what they said. Well, he still has this letter to this day. That's an old piece of paper. It's over 10 years old now. And I actually cashed it in. And when I got out of prison, I never looked back. I grew up without my father, not well off, which is whatever. I called some other guy that was my stepdad, dad, my whole life. He raised me. But my real father, not in my life. So as a younger guy, I'm not in my son's life. And I don't want to repeat this cycle. I'm home from prison. I'm working all these odd jobs. It's hard to get a job when you're a felon, even if you're white. I get a phone call one day, says, Mom, now I remember.
That's real shit. People need to understand that. Felony is a felony. I don't care what that, like, felonies don't discriminate, all right? A felony is a felony.
I said his mom was always off and on drugs. And she says, come get your son. He's crazy. I can't handle him anymore. Come get him. He's like 9 or 10 years old at this point. No, he's 9. I'm driving out there. I'm about a half an hour away. She calls and she says, never mind, turn around. I got it under control. Don't ever call here again. I'm like, bitch, you called me. I said I would never do that again. If she ever calls me again, I'm not turning around. I'm going there. I'm taking my son and I'm never looking back. So 6 months go by. Boom, I get a phone call. It's her again. She says, come get your son. I can't handle him. I get there. I make it all the way there. I tell him to pack all his stuff, put it in garbage bags, whatever. We take all his shit and we leave. He's 10 now at this point. I could have cried when I walked into that house and seen his room and his clothes, and it was just nasty and dirty, and all the clothes we threw in the bags, I ended up just throwing out and getting him new clothes and new shoes. And I try to get him to wear better stuff, and he just wasn't used to wearing it, so he didn't give a fuck. He looked at me like, man, fuck you. I don't care what you're saying to me. You know, he's 10 and he's already like, fuck everything, right? He definitely didn't know discipline.
Man.
His mom tried to discipline him and he'd be like, yeah, whatever.
That sounds like me. Like, that sounds like me personally. You know what I'm saying? Like 8, 9, 10, 11, shit, from like 8 till like fucking 17, bro. Like, those were rough years. Like, there was a lot of good times in those years. But I was bad. Like, I had the worst authority issue. Like, I didn't like understand authority. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you respect me, I respect you. You know what I'm saying? Fuck this older elder shit. Like, I didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't understand, bro. Like, I was just a very ignorant child, man, like an angry child. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that my dad was in prison and he wasn't there, and I was just a very upset, just angry, I was an angry child. That's all there is to it. Let's go.
So one night I'm cooking dinner's about to be done. I say, Taman, come down, it's time to eat. Hold on. Okay. Taman, come down, it's time to eat. Fuck this. Finally I go upstairs, go in the room, I'm like, yo, Taman, it's time to eat, man, come on. He's like, what the hell? Jesus! He's never been disciplined by me ever, and I've never heard him talk to me like that. So I said, Jesus. And I grabbed this kid by his throat and slammed him up against the wall. And the whole time I'm like, Jesus! What are you major? And you know, I throw him, it's crazy, right? So what I'm saying is, 10 years had went by where his dad was in and out of his life. His mom is off and on drugs. And now all of a sudden, oh, well, now you want to be my dad? Now you want me to listen to you?
That's how I felt.
I had a shitty job. The company went out of business. I lost my job. I lost my car. I lost my license. I lost everything I had. I moved in my basement of my brother's house. I set up a room for us. We both had our own bed, and we're both in the basement together. And one day I'm looking at him, and he's kind of crying. I'm like, Taman, what's going on? What's wrong? And he said, I'll never forget this shit ever. It hurts me to this day. He said, Dad, this isn't normal. And he's crying, and I'm, what's not normal? We live in Uncle Danny's basement. And right there, I knew I had to do something more to support my family, my child. I got a phone call by one of my best friends, Eric.
Thanks.
Saved my life. He said, hey man, we got a job opening here at this plant. You could get hired right away. They don't care about your background. I told him you're a hard worker. You just got to show up. And I showed up. And I never looked back. I didn't have a car. I lived in my brother's basement. I ran to the train station, took the train into work every day, and then jumped off the train, got on the L, took the L into the hood, and that's where the plant is, 48th and Western in Chicago. and I worked. And I did that until I got my license back, got a vehicle, got out of my brother's basement, got a little duplex, and that's when I made my first video.
I guess this is too serious of a conversation. My lighter said, no, bro, no. Well, we're just gonna finish listening to Adam. Cause shit is some deep shit. Cause like I definitely understand that. I had a wake up call with my kids. Like when I was running those dispensaries, a big reason, a big motivation for me to leave that place was I was miserable. You know what I'm saying? I hated doing it. Like I didn't hate it, but I wasn't necessarily happy. You know what I mean? And my kids were like, they hated it because I worked so much. And even if I was off, I was still on call because I was the boss. Like, you know, if something went wrong or somebody didn't show up or whatever, like they were contacting me. So I was always thinking and talking about work. And when my two oldest came to me and was like, Dad, you're never here. And I was just like, what? I'm here right now. They're like, no, you're just sitting here, but you're not here. And I was just like, dang. And that was like a really big wake up call for me to be like, yep, it's time to switch things up, man. And yeah, never look back.
About how kids nowadays aren't like how I grew up, and it went viral and then it exploded after that. So now I'm working and all of a sudden I'm making these weird little videos and everyone's like, what are you doing making these videos? My family members are like disowning me, and my son, I'm doing videos with him and he thinks it's fun. You know, he's having a hard time in school. At this point, he's 14 years old. He's like a freshman in high school. I find him smoking weed for the first time. You mother... So instead of going crazy and smacking him up, I said...
That's about the same time, yeah, about 13. It was like 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, that's when I was, you know, dibble-dabbling with the weed. And then, you know, now I'm a pothead. Not gonna lie.
All right. Just give me the weed. Where's it at? I'm not doing it. I swear to God. Just give it to me right now. We'll go to breakfast and we won't talk about it. So he goes in his little chair in his compartment like fucking MacGyver and takes out this weed and gives it to me. I said, okay, thank you. No more. Don't ever do this in the house. I can't stop you. You can do what you want, but you shouldn't be doing this. Don't do it in the house. I go to breakfast. We don't talk about it again. Anyways, these are things that you go through being a parent. You go through these things. My kid would never smoke. My kid would never drink. It's going to happen. I took every route with my son. I took the, okay, buddy, I love you, just laid back route. I took the, come here, you little motherfucker. I took that route. I took the just yelling route. I took the, give me a hug, I love you, it's my fault route. I took every single route with him, but after everything was all said and done, I was always there. From the day I picked him up from his mom's to the day he graduated high school, I made sure he graduated high school, because let me tell you something. I graduated high school, but I wasn't able to walk across the platform and get my diploma because I was a jackass. I was a troublemaker in high school. Go figure. Yeah. He almost didn't graduate high school because he was just like me. He just wanted to get out of there. So we got him out of there. He walked across, got his diploma. I got tears. Yeah, so happy. It was the proudest moment of my life. And it wasn't even my life. It was his life. We were breaking the cycle, you know. I am a dad to my son. My dad was not. You know, he graduated and walked across the thing in high school. I didn't. I just wanted to make him a better human than I was. I think as parents, that's all we can do is raise our kids the best we know how and hope and pray that they turn out better than we were. I say all that to say this. People praise me on how good of a father I am. I was a piece of shit at one time. I was not present in my son's life. I only thought about myself. And I'm sure when he needed me the most, I wasn't there. It breaks my heart. But I got home from prison and I had him when he was 10 and I never stopped, and I still don't stop to this day. He's 19. That is my son. That is my brother, my best friend. I love that kid to death, and he saved my life and he changed my life forever, and I will hope that he thinks the same of me. We've been able to do shit that I was never able to do with my dad. Cause
man, that's some shit that like that almost makes me want to cry. Cause like that's some shit that I've always just like, the reason I was so angry as a child is because I just wanted to have a dad. I just wanted to have that validation from my own dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I never got that, man. Like even to this day, you know, I'm 27 years old now, and I've still, you know, my dad is I can't tell you the last time my dad has told me that he loved me, that he was proud of me, that You know what I'm saying? Like anything. Like I don't have any of those memories with my dad. The only memories I have with my dad are all pretty negative. You know, like I don't have any like happy moments that I can personally remember with my father. And that shit fucks me up a little bit, you know? Like I've learned to deal with it and accept it and live with it. But at one point, that was a lot harder said than done. You know what I'm saying? At one point I didn't accept it. At one point I didn't just live with it. At one point I didn't just, I wasn't just okay. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit's crazy. Like to hear him say that to his son, like that shit, like, man, it didn't give me hope for my dad, but it gave me hope as a dad. You know what I'm saying? Like to know, like, all right, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I've been there, and I'm never gonna stop being there. You know what I'm saying? Like I've told you, everything I'm doing here now, like I'm choosing to chase my dreams and live my life to show my kids how to do the same. You know, I don't want my kids to just settle for the everyday average life. You know, I want them to get out there and fail and have successes. Like, you know, the reality is that too many people are scared to fail. You know, they're so caught up in this idea that the world's fair and that everybody's a winner and blah blah blah. Like, no, the reality is the people who are really winning are people who have failed more times than they'll ever win in their life. And that's the type of shit that I'm on right now, man. It's just like showing my kids, like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to try things and it not work out. It's okay for you to dream big and to, want more, And at the same time, I'm still just there to tell them I love them and, I'm proud of them. And, it's cool. I've been able to take them to school every day. And, I was always the one that took them to their first day. Well, I've always been their first day of schools and all, you know what I'm saying? Like I do that stuff. So this shit gives me hope as a dad. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have hope in the relationship with me and my father. So it is what it is. Life moves on. You don't get to choose the hand that you're dealt. You just play it.
He wasn't there. Like go on vacation. I was there and I put that blue cord on him when he graduated. Listen, the world is not all bad, and never count anybody out. People will surprise you, sometimes in the greatest way possible. Raising kids ain't easy. Being a parent is confusing. Yes, I have smacked the shit out of my kid and thrown him through drywall in the house. I've also loved him, hugged him, talked to him, cared for him, and would do anything for him to this day and forever because that is my responsibility. He's my child. But there was a time in life where I was a piece of shit dad. So if you're a dad or a mom out there and you're not around your kid right now, just understand it's the most important thing in life. Taking care of your kids is the most important thing in life. The only way they will learn good and bad things is through you being there or your lack of being there. One more thing, hold on.
That's real life.
I would just like to say to my dad, wherever you are out there, if you see these things or not, thank you for not being in my life the way you should have been, because it made me, at the end of the day, it made me understand how important it is to be a good father.
Facts. Damn, that's some real life shit. I could say and vouch that exact same thing. Thanks, Dad, for not being there, because you showed me how to be a good one and how to be who I am, you know what I'm saying, and who I was supposed to be. So, yeah. Appreciate you. But ultimately, man, I want to say thank you to Adam. That was dope, bro. You always put yourself out there for people to judge and not give a fuck about it and what they had to say because you're too real and don't care what other people have to say. But for people who really, like myself, kind of just listen to what you have to say and learn from it, and you definitely, like I said, I've been there in my kids' lives from day one. I was in the hospital and I've never looked back. But that shit made me feel good. Because I know the hardships and stuff that I went through with my own father, and to know that the cycle can be broken. You know what I'm saying? That things can get better. From one generation to the next. Like that made me feel good, to know like your generations are getting better and gave me hope for mine. And, I appreciate it, man. Like, thank you for wearing your heart on your sleeve sometimes and allowing us to get a little bit more from you. You know what I'm saying? Because you definitely did not have to say any of that stuff. You could have let people just, you know, believe what they wanted. You could have let people just know, like, feel how they wanted to feel. And the fact that you felt genuine enough to come out and be like, yo, no, like, yeah, I'm a good father now. You know, I'm a great father now. But at one point, I was a piece of shit fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Like, that's the most humble thing that I've seen in a long time. And I appreciate it, man. Just wanted to let you know that I do appreciate that, because I definitely know where you're coming from. Because even being a present father and knowing that I was there every day, sometimes you get caught up in trying to give your kids everything that you forget that the only thing that they really need simply is your attention. And that's the one thing that I was forgetting to give my kids, was just my attention, simply just giving them me, you know, my time, my, you know, my attention, man. It was simple, you know, like they didn't care about all the shoes and clothes, and, you know, they didn't care about any of that. As long as we had the bare essentials and they knew that they had my attention, they were happy. And it's the happiest they've ever been, with me not working 80 hours a week and stuff on a job that I can't stop doing what I'm doing to just give them some attention when they need it. So yeah, man, it's awesome. I loved it. Sorry for talking everybody's ear off, but you know, this got me a little choked up. Like I said, this shit made me a little emotional. But I love y'all. There is no me without you. Always remember, live life high, man. If you got any comments to add, just drop them down below, man. And yeah, talk back. I love y'all. Always remember, live life high. Honest, intelligent, genuine, humble. Look yourself in the mirror, be like, God damn it, I'm sexy and masculine that way. Peace.